The Twins missed out on Hyunjin Ryu. They missed out on every other big name free agent starting pitcher after saying that they were going to target impact starting pitching. This really shouldn't have been a surprise, I guess. The Twins weren't very strongly linked to Ryu. And Thad Levine basically came out on Wednesday on the Twins Hot Stove show and said, completely pivoted from their earlier comments and said that, basically they're targeting impact players and that they were going to focus more on the trade market. We'll get to that in a sec. This is Tom Froming from twinsdaily.com. If you enjoy honest and advanced analysis of the Twins, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let's jump into what Thad Levine told Chris Atterbury on that Hot Stove show.
Like, the plans do change. The plans have to evolve based upon what the offseason offers to you. Our best laid plans are almost never followed A to Z. Like, it just doesn't work out that way. We're constantly trying to create the next thing to get excited about, the next impact player to acquire. So at the outset of the offseason, I think the most clear need on this team was to address our starting pitching. We had 4 guys going to free agency. It was just clear cut. We needed to address the pitching. We talked about impact starting pitching. I think if I had to go back in the Wayback Machine, I would probably say we wanted to add impact players. A lot of those pitchers have gone off the board. We had a lot of conversations about some of those guys. The right deal has not been there for us to strike. So I think as we sit here now, we're still as committed as we were on that day to adding to the talent of our 2019 club as we enter 2020. Not so sure where it's going to come from. There's a lot of ways to impact this club. We could do it in the pen. We could do it in the position player unit, although the bar's a little bit higher there. And there's still a lot of pitchers out there. And we may be turning our attention a little bit more to the trade markets as well at this time.
All right, so there you heard Thad was pretty upfront about where they were going to be looking next. It's disappointing, no doubt, that they're not going to end up delivering on kind of the expectation they set that the Twins would be signing likely one of the big starting pitchers. However, Hyunjin Ryu on a 4-year, $80 million deal going to Toronto. I didn't think that was crazy, especially considering what some of the other guys got. This is the defending NL ERA champion after all. So definitely some disappointment there, but there are some other guys out there. The Twins might add Josh Donaldson. They might make a trade. They have to do something, which is the theme. I can understand if people don't want to let the front office off the hook for not making good on that impact pitching statement. Now there's time to do that in a trade potentially. And now he's sort of pivoted and is making that route, more the message that they're targeting impact players. So I'm willing to give them a chance. It is only December. A lot of off season left. Obviously, the free agent market is very thin. However, you maybe have been checking this out. This is a list of potential starting pitcher trade targets. And these guys are all guys I've pulled from various sources on just articles about potential trade candidates, speculation. That market doesn't seem to be heating up right now. And I would imagine the majority of these names listed will not be moved, just kind of the way it goes. But you can see I've included over the last 2 seasons, 2018 and 2019, both the ERA minus and the Fangraphs WAR for each of these pitchers. It is ordered by the ERA minus. I kind of wanted to include both a counting stat WAR and a rate-based stat ERA minus, just to sort of make things a little even for the guys who haven't pitched a whole lot, the really young guys or the guys who've been injured, like Darvish. But that kind of gives you an idea. ERA minus, by the way, is a stat that it's ERA based, but it also factors in it's league and park adjusted. So it's a little bit more advanced. The lower the number, the better. So that's also what the color coding is. The darker red is better. Lighter is not as good. So, we may get into some in-depth on some of these guys, especially as the market develops and it becomes more obvious who's out there. Really, the main guy that's being talked about right now is actually Mike Clevenger. I can't imagine that the Indians would trade him to the Twins. Now, I did include Matthew Boyd on this list, So I'm not saying inter-division trades don't happen, but from one contender for the division title to another one, I mean, it'd be like if the Twins traded Eddie Rosario to the White Sox or something. That's pretty hard to imagine. So I'm not going to include Clevenger. But take a look through this list. I mean, there are certainly some big names here, but I think David Price has pretty close to $100 million left on his contract. I'd imagine if the Twins were going to spend that kind of a money, they would have gone out and got a free agent, extended themselves a little bit further to go get somebody. But you never know how much, there's a few other bigger contracts in this list. You never know how much the team getting rid of them is motivated to move those contracts. David Price, he's making a lot. Quintana and Darvish, both on the Cubs, they're rumored to be wanting to dump salary. We'll see what all becomes of that. It's hard to say right now for sure, but those are the names that kind of stuck out to me. Is there anybody that jumps off the list for you? Does anybody really grab your attention? And like I said, I think we're going to, as this market develops, I bet you I'll record some stuff on these individual guys and get a little bit of deeper dive. But I'm gonna echo something that a lot of people have said, and that's the Colorado guys. To me, John Gray and German Marquez both make a lot of sense. They've been really good, and we're looking at two park-adjusted stats here that show that a little bit. Take that Coors Field effect away, and even things out for those guys, and they look pretty good in that stance. Two guys that aren't looking real great on this list, but I think have a lot of potential to go forward, who I've liked for a while, are both Robbie Ray and Matthew Boyd. So, when you look at a Boyd or a Ray or quite a few of the guys on this list, they really don't jump out at you, but they are guys who are in their prime, and they might just be an adjustment away or a change of scenery away from really taking off. So out of that kind of bunch, what do you like better? A potential salary dump or targeting a guy who may skyrocket or sink? Hey, thanks for checking this out. I just kind of wanted to talk some baseball today. I figured maybe there's some people want to talk baseball with me. But if you made it this far, consider hitting like, consider subscribing, and we'll talk again soon.